worthy praise forevermore. The name of Jesus is so sweet. I love his music to repeat. It makes my joy full and complete. The precious name of Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, how sweet the name. Jesus, every day the same. Jesus, let all saints proclaim, is worthy praise forevermore. Man, this is good stuff here, man. This is W.C. Martin and Edmund S. Lawrence. The name of Jesus, man. I grew up listening to that song. My auntie would sing that song and just blow it out of the park. Yeah, we had church in the park. Y'all want to talk about poverty? Somebody told me one day that some of y'all have what's called a spirit of poverty. Well, I got some good news and some bad news. The good news is the scriptures never mentions a spirit of poverty. No such thing. The bad news is there's something very close to it. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones. He's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones Show.
Come on in. The water's fine. Whoa. Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the evening edition. Baby. Come on in. The water's fine. How y'all doing? There's a whole bunch of y'all that are here. I see Ivy and Johnson and Pitts and Stuttermeyer and Weaver and Lee and Chester and Carter and Collins and Corn Phillips and Jackson and James and Adams and Rogers and a whole bunch of y'all are here. I had a wonderful privilege to watch your show on. I love it. Subscribed and can't wait to. Oh, David Weaver. Oh, you. That's right. You are a Facebook person. Yeah. So it seems. You know, that YouTube area over there is different than Facebook. Those of you who are on Facebook, it's a whole nother experience over there on YouTube. Whole nother. It's a little more organized because it's a channel and all my videos are in that channel. On Facebook, you got to get through all of the posts from people who's putting stuff on my wall and my timeline and blah, 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 blah. Now, if you're on Facebook, Sirwalterj Jones page, it's just me and my videos. I want to talk to you about the church. And has the church gone wild? Well, yeah, church have always gone wild. Always been wild. Is your church keeping you poor? Absolutely. Yeah. Are all churches doing this? No. There's some great churches out there that don't do that. I've been a part of a couple. Not too many, but a couple. But they are. Yeah. YouTube is a whole different beast. All right. And you can do some nice, cute little things over there, like send me super chats and stuff like that. It's just cute. We just have fun over there, YouTube. Okay. Now, I talked about types of spirits. Remember I talked about types of spirits, and I gave y'all a list of spirits that the Bible itself speak of, okay? And as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you, I wrote it up here a long time ago, okay? These are all of the spirits that the scriptures mention, okay, in the Bible, all right? So when it comes to the spirit of poverty, you don't see it, but you can almost take some of these and put it in that. There's a spirit of bondage in which some are poor today because of that. Heaviness, bondage. Your organization can cause that. A spirit of error. You see? So even though there's not a spirit of poverty, these spirits can cause it. All right? Slumber. Some of you are poor because you sleep. Let's see. What else? Deep sleep. Yeah. A broken spirit. Okay? All that stuff. Yeah. Y'all talking about my shirt? I love my shirt. Yeah, y'all. Love my shirt. I'm the guy with the wild shirts. Y'all don't like it? Buy me some more. I like my wild shirts. Can't take that away from me. All right. So some of you are caught in the closet. Pun intended. Cause and effect. Yes. Because they sleep too much. A pretty lady says. I was about to say some of those spirits are crossovers as relates to those top. That's right. A real. It's keep people poor, giving many different. Yeah, absolutely, Linda. Absolutely. So let's dig into this. I was watching a TED Talk from a guy named Walter. Great name. Love that name. Walter Wambazi. And he was talking about the 5 reasons why the church have kept people poor. I agreed with his list, and he also quoted from Karl Marx by saying religion is the number one tool for mind control from the elite for the ordinary. Religion is the number one tool for mind control. Do y'all agree? You don't have to agree because it is true. Because what they've done was they've done a couple things. Number one, they pushed the concept of martyrdom. Martyrs. They pushed the concept of martyrdom. Sherry said, I definitely agree. Yeah. Martyr. You die. You have to accept what was given to you at birth. When I mean birth, I mean at the moment that you receive Christ as your Lord and Savior. Then they begin to pour into you the values of life, even when it came to your finances. Martyr. Number 2, the suffering model. They pushed to you the suffering model. The more you suffer, the holier you are. Poverty, when I was coming up, seemed like from my great grandparents or what have you, was a leg up. And then they begin to use scripture improperly. Of course, the one of the most popular ones is it is easier for a camel to do what? Can y'all tell me? There's the show there. 7 reasons why Christians are financially broke. All right. Can y'all tell me? It's easier for a camel to do what? All right. And then some people tried to play that out by saying the needle had 2 interpretations. There was a needle which is a gate that goes into Jerusalem that the camel can't go through. And then there's the sewing needle in which, that the camel is difficult for the camel to go through that gate. But then there's the sewing needle. And so scholars are fighting over where is the needle? What needle is the scripture speaking of? Yes. All right. And then, of course, money is the what, y'all? What's that other verse that they have given us to make you feel like rich people are going to hell? Can y'all tell me what that is? This all is religiosity. Blessings to you, Gardner. Good to see you. I agree, just like religion was used as slavery, but the truth of the word, yes, Timothy Clark came out the gate fighting. All right. And so he also mentioned the justification of kingdoms and empires. And Timothy, he mentioned slavery as well. He mentioned colonization or colonism, okay? Colonialism, colonizers, as we saw in the superhero movie. That one. The nobles, the blue bloods, the anointed ones, and all this stuff, all right? We have been using these tactics to keep people poor. Money is the root of all evil versus the correct scripture. The love of money is the root. There you go. Okay. And so these things have been keeping people in poverty for a long time. All right. So how are the tactics of the church? Yes. Thank you, Ron. You got to know the truth for yourself. Yeah. Money answers all things. Yeah. I personally like that one too. Okay. So your church is raising an offering because they want to build a church. All right, fine. Maybe it's a whole lot of you and you need to build a place so that the people can go somewhere and worship. All right. So what they've done was they went to the bank and they convinced the bank that they can keep the mortgage payments going, maybe based off of the old church that they had, and they might have paid it off. All right. And so some churches felt like if they build it, they will come. And unfortunately, here in Chicago, I've seen many churches who had a mega church mentality in their mind, a vision, let's say a mega church vision, but they had a storefront church mentality. They were still bringing in the storefront church spirit, okay, the attributes of a storefront. It's like some of the people that I've met, my friends who were born and raised in the projects here. We've had Henry Horner, Stateway, the famous Cabrini Green, and Rockwell Gardens, or whatever you call it. Pitts will help me with these names here. Okay. These projects, these people were born in them, and then generations stayed. Chicago built these projects in, I would say, the 1950s through the first, not the first mayor, but the daddy mayor, Richard M. Daley. Sometimes I get the middle names mixed up with the father and the son. All right, and they built them, and the people from the black migration from the south to the north caused the Mississippis and the Alabamians and some from Florida, wherever. Okay, they came south for a better life. Rockwell Gardens is one. Thank you. And they came to Chicago and they saw these high rises, and they thought that it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because some of these people were coming from very impoverished situations. Mississippi is still considered maybe on the top 5 poorest states in the entire country. Mississippi is at the top of the list, right? And so they came into and started living in these projects, and their rent was so low, and it just was a great place to be. But they didn't understand that it was a transient thing. It's like public aid. You're not supposed to get on public aid and stay there. It's like a flat tire that you get. And so they put these donuts in your cars. You don't have the full wheels like we did when we were coming up. They started putting donuts in your new cars. That donut is so that you can get from Wear that flat happened until you get to a mechanic. What my friends were doing was riding it around town with that donut for weeks, sometimes months on that donut. The donut is temporary. And so public aid was supposed to be temporary to help keep you alive and your children until you can find work. The projects were supposed to be a temporary place where you can go and build up your wealth and then move out and let someone else move in. You pull someone else up. You understand? That's what it was supposed to be. Now, I'm leading y'all to the church, right? And then what happens is certain political parties, like especially the Democratic Party, I believe has kept most of these people impoverished and in poverty, and the mindset is Rockwell Gardens, project mentality. You put a project mentality person into a brand new home, and that home falls down in 6 months. Why? Project mentality. There are many of our friends have poverty mentality, and so that I believe that's what the church did. This is what the Democratic Party did. Now I'll get to the Republican Party a little later, okay? Because they have their hands in the systematic structure of racism and xenophobia and all that stuff, rooted and grounded in the Republican Party. We see that now, even though things did change, these parties switched over because it was hard-fetched to see discover a black man that was not a Republican. Your great-grandfather was a Republican. He was not a Democrat, because the Democrat gave us the KKK. They gave us these slave taxes, and they gave us Jim Crow, and they gave us things like that. And then something did this, and we saw that happen in the 1960s with the Civil Rights Bill, and on and on. Okay. So anyways, the Democratic Party, then black folks jumped over in there, and where poverty is, poverty will follow. All right. So all of that is in a mesh, is in a pool. It's like a cesspool, okay? And then the church has always been there because the pastors or black clergymen have always been used by the system to keep people impoverished or enslaved. I'm in trouble. Cabrini Green, Henry Horner, that's what I was looking for. Stateway, I mentioned Stateway. Robert Taylor, yes, thank you. Ida B. Wells, yes, thank you, Pitts. Okay, the black pastor is almost single-handedly responsible for many of your forefathers to stay in poverty and slavery or slave mentality. Project mentality, still selling fish plates and still can't move out of the storefront church. Been there, done that. Come on, Corn. I'm telling you, been there. There's an AME church sitting right in the middle of a project in Chicago, and I never saw any major positive change, and you will not ever see it. The mentality, the people who are coming from the projects are joining that church, and that whole church have the mentality of poverty, okay? And these churches, actually, it's like I believe that there's a cure for cancer. I, in my heart of hearts, believe that there's a cure for cancer, all right? But you cannot implement the cure, because if you do that, then you kill off the riches and the wealth. So it is more lucrative to treat than to cure. Do you understand? It's more lucrative to treat. Poverty is the same thing as it pertains to your churches. It is more lucrative to say certain things to keep you mentally in an impoverished state, so that you can believe that you're going to come out one day. The one day beating on the pulpit, the one day message is what's keeping you poor. And then you'll say, this year you're coming out, because you got to keep that hope. It's a Ponzi scheme. Understand? The Ponzi scheme is you invest in us, and then we will give back to you. But we're going to give you money that we stole from someone else. And so you're receiving money from the Ponzi scheme, but you are literally helping someone steal from another person. You understand? The church gives you these weak promises, and they'll take scriptures out of context and tell you the prophet will come over the pulpit and say, this is your year. And everybody in the room, I don't care if it's 5 or 500 people, it just so happened to be everybody's year. And even when it was tested and tried and true that it was not your year, by December, several people died. Some people got COVID or cancer or they lost their homes and cars, what have you. No one goes back to the scene of the crime to ask the pastor what happened. No one does. Why? Because you're in an impoverished state of your mind that you don't even know to even go back to the scene of the crime. And so I believe that many of you have Stockholm syndrome. Church I used to be a member of was in the middle of a large housing project, and the pastor drove in his Mercedes and left right after the amen. I was a part of a construction company here in Chicago, and we were bidding. It was an African-American construction company, and they were bidding to build a library in Westmont, Illinois, and they won the bid eventually, but the owner drove up in a Rolls Royce at the bidding place. I was there. These white construction companies, some of the majors out there, were bidding on this place, and my black boss drove up in a Rolls Royce with a 3-piece suit with bling bling everywhere to bid on the place. And the white folks was looking at him like he was Tricky Ricky. It was the most embarrassing thing I had ever witnessed. The white construction company, the workers, the CEOs were walking in there with dirty pants and just a regular white shirt, and in cars their company cars, which were trucks. Okay, and all these, it had all kind of dirt on it and what have you. Okay, and he drove up like that, and I says, now this right here, this pimp right here, this fool right here is your pastor. Illusory truth effect. Come on, Pitts, come on. That's witchcraft, the way these churches enslave us through finances, and we keep going back. Ron says, "Sweet daddy." If they do ask the pastor, he gives a lame excuse that they didn't have enough faith. Didn't have enough faith. All right. And so this is going all around you. So you wake up in an impoverished environment. You go to work in an impoverished environment because you're making somebody else wealthy. You go to the polls and you vote for a political party which keeps you impoverished. And then at the end of the week, you go to a church in which keeps you impoverished. And wash, rinse, and repeat. When are you going to come out of it? When are you going to find your way coming out of it? And so then when it comes down to giving in an offering, you are told that if you do this, then your return on your investment will be large, and it will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over when men give to your bosom, and then they threaten you with a curse, and they did all these things because they stepped outside of the dispensation of that time and tried to tell you got to do this, because if you don't, this is going to happen to you. Y'all fell for it. Generations fell for it, and you never went back to the scene of the crime to find and show them your checking or your balance sheet. And why is it that my return on my investment is not what you said it would be? None of you go back to it. Come on, Sherry said fear-mongering. You never go back to that. You every year you keep putting back into the coffers buckets. You don't even, I literally heard y'all say that you don't care where that money goes when you put it in the bucket. I've heard too many of you say that, and I wanted to slap y'all in the face, but the Spirit of God said don't slap them because you might go to jail for that. But I've literally heard y'all say, when my money go in that bucket, I don't care. I'm giving unto the Lord. And before you know it, the pastor's coming out there. The FBI got him walking outside in handcuffs to some misappropriation of fund or some, all these building funds. Y'all got the thermometer at the front of the church. Everybody got, come on, stop playing. Y'all know good and well your church got a thermometer in front of that church because you had a 50-year building fund. I know I've seen it at all y'all's churches. How do I know? Because my church, well, I don't see it there anymore. Somebody wised up. And the thermometer right there. And the bottom is filled in with the red. But it never goes to the top. It's just never. And that thermometer been sitting in front of your church for 50 years. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have given all this money. You've given all this money to the church over a 20-year period. All right? And you never check on how much you gave. Let's say you gave $10,000 over a few years. You've given $10,000 based off of the promise that this man said or woman said that you would get back. So you gave $10,000, which was a 10% of your income over several years. You've given $10,000. But when you look back on your checking, your savings, your financial records, okay, you can check that. You know that, right? You realize that you gave more than you received over a 10-year period. Yet you're going to go back this week and do the same thing. Why? Because the church wasn't honest with you by telling you where the money was going. So they had to raise money by using a manipulative way to get you to do that, and you fell for it hook, line, and what's the other word? And your mama and your daddy and their mama and their daddy and their mama and their daddy fell for it too. How in the world did many of us come out? I mean, we struggled. Some of us lost we lost our cars. Sinker, yeah. We lost our cars. We lost our homes. Okay. We couldn't afford our life insurances and all this stuff. Why? Because we felt that if we didn't give this money to the church, that a curse would happen to us, and then we would lose the things that we eventually lost. Oh, I don't think y'all understand him. The man told y'all, if you don't do this, you will lose those things. And so you did that, and you wind up losing those things. Man, I tell you, man, I'm always in trouble when I do these shows. Always in trouble. And I keep telling y'all that the average person, the average person, I gotta watch this. Somebody's showing me some Larry Reed stuff. He's on live. The average person is doing this. I started reading the word for myself and realized tithing is a false doctrine that tithes. Ooh, Sherry, you better run. Sherry, do me a favor. Put on your gym shoes. You got any Nikes? You got Nikes? I'm gonna need you to put them on right now. All right, right now. Open up the door and run. Then they hype you up by saying what? Here's $100. Yeah. Yes, sir. How to overcome the spirit of poverty without tithing. And I did that show, y'all. In the dark, but the church lights are. You see what I'm saying? So you wind up losing the very thing. You obey the man of God, and you wind up losing the very thing that he said you would lose if you don't put in this pot. That is an amazing feat to accomplish in these churches. It is amazing, an amazing act of boldness. All right? If the church would just be honest with what's going to happen to your money, the people would give. If you bought the church, if you built the church from the ground up, you know that's your asset. All right? So what some of my Caucasian friends were doing, if they needed to build something, they had the money, they raised the cash right away. They raised the cash over time, and then they walked down there to the bank or the construction company. Here's the thing. We walk down into the bank to get mortgages, which means death. Mortgage means death, okay? We walk down there to get the bank to fund us. We are making the banks extremely wealthy, y'all, so they can fund us or give us enough money so that we can get the construction companies to build the building for us, and then we are in debt with the banks for 30 years or more, and we can't even help the impoverished people in our church. If something should happen where someone is hungry, their lights are off, they lost their car, they're getting ready to lose their house, or the house burned, the church can't even afford to help the members who built that church. Why? Because the money is tied up in mortgage payments. That is a sin. That's a sin. And many of my Caucasian friends, I know some of my black friends have done this too, where they raised all of the money and they walked past the bank and went straight to the construction company and say, build this for us. You understand? That's the way it should be. And so I'm perplexed. I'm just to the plex. They taught us give your way out of poverty. And that is against the scripture. 2 Corinthians, I'm sure Rogers will put the lesson that I've taught on 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and 9 goes against the teaching of giving till it hurts and giving your all. The Apostle Paul told them, don't do that. He said, give what you can afford, a percentage of your income, if you can afford it. He said, not that those people you're giving to will have much and you have nothing. He says, I would never do that. He said, well, give as comfortable as you can, without grudging, without compulsion. Give if you can to them, because he says one day you may need it yourself. That's against the tithing teaching. The tithing teaching is you will always have. But the average person who borrows from Sirwalterj Jones is a tithe payer. You can't give your way out of poverty. The average person who borrows money from me is a tithe payer. And I often ask him, I try to ask him as clever as possible. Do you pay your tithes at church? Yes, I pay my tithes faithfully. I said, well, didn't they tell you that you will have no room to receive? But yet you're borrowing. You've been borrowing not just from me. You borrow from this brother, the other. You borrow from this sister the other day. But I see you in the tithing line. Why aren't you going to the promise maker? Well, who's the promise maker? That dude right there. That sister right there. Every Sunday is making promises to you. And the promise is not being realized. And you never go back to them and ask them, where my money, bro? You never do it. So you go around this same place and ask to borrow money. You never try his words by his own words. I can't understand that to save my sanctified life. Why? Because it's lucrative. You've got to continue, like Pitt says, the system, the illusory perception. You've got to keep the illusory going, that one day I'll get there. A person who's driving his car, he knows a 10-hour drive, but he keeps pushing no matter what happens through rain, storm, sleet, and hail, flat tire, run out of gas. Okay, he keeps pushing. And that is the illusory that the church have put on the people, that keep doing this. One day this is going to happen to you, and your great grandparents and their parents and then your parents, they all died off with that illusory. This generation ain't playing that crap. We ain't playing it. No, we ain't falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Generation X is waking up, y'all, and I believe, and I think I've done a couple shows about that Generation X, my generation, I just barely missed the baby boomers, all right? Generation X is waking up the whole world, because our time on the earth is short. We're at the second half of our life, and we are waking the nation up. Y'all better hear the prophet. Don't walk in front of the prophet. Y'all better hear the prophet. I'm trying to tell y'all, Generation X is teaching, and they're teaching on fire. Because why? That generation that we just gave birth to, those millennials and Generation Zs, they need all of our help that we can give them, and we are their last hope. And so this is why the Sirwalterj Jones show, there are many Sirwalterj Jones shows out there, many of them that are teaching like crazy, because one day God's going to take us out of here. And what do they have? So Generation X, y'all are the remnants that God is using right now to correct much of the stuff that the baby boomers and the silent generation taught in error. Now, did we need them? You best believe, because it's because of the silent generation I'm saved today. Understand? It's because of the baby boomers. I stayed saved today. I have the things that I have today. All right? But that generation is dying off. And so we're left here to teach and to fix this bad eisegetical stuff. You understand? So y'all stay awake as much as you can. Not that woke stuff that I see on social media. No, those you woke folk need to go back to sleep. Please, rockabye and good night. Da 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 da. Go back to bed. I'm tired of this woke generation. Y'all too woke to you implementing too much unholy. You're bringing too many unholy relics in your house. Unholy sayings and humanism and pluralism and inclusionism and Oprah-ism, Iyanla Vanzant witch-ism. Y'all bringing all that stuff into y'all's homes. All right, so you woke folk need to go back to sleep. Please. Can you please? I just snuck by in generation. Yeah, come on. Give us millennials all the ammo you got. I need it. Come on, Timothy Clock. We got you, Doc. We got you. All right? My children are doing just fine. Why? Because I beat this information into their heads. I don't just show to y'all and not show to them. My daughter, every morning, she wakes up with my grandson, and when I wake up after 10 o'clock because, sometimes I'm up all night long. All right? And I when I open my bedroom door, my daughter is sitting there with her laptop with the stock market plan. All right. And there are her managers and whatever she calls them. And they're there helping her invest in this, invest in that. And she got my grandbaby there, and he in his chair, and he got all this food on his face, and she's singing to him, and he cool, and he got cool, and she's watching the stock market report every morning when I wake up, and I say, baby girl, did you make any money today? She says, yes, I did, Pops. Yes, I did. Come on. And so what y'all do is, though, y'all talk about, you quote scriptures about a good man prepares an inheritance for his children's children. Y'all can quote that till you're blue in the face in your churches. You ain't doing nothing. You just quoting. Y'all are great quoters. Come on, Ruth. Yeah. Those millennials are being deceived by Satan. Look how the world is becoming one violence. And yes, system. Yes, Jimmy got sold. I invited Joe's platform because he is touching. Blessings to you. Yeah, no strings. No strings. Come on, y'all. All right. So now, how do we do this? How do we after all of the browbeating that I may do to y'all, I promise you, I'll always come back with a resolve. I try to resolve the problems and the beating that I give y'all. And I'm gonna do that today. Do y'all hear these here teaching? Keys. And the thing about giving is y'all proved that the proper way of giving is to give to someone in need. There's two ways to give, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all what the two ways are. Number one, always give to yourself first. Can y'all put that in the comment section? Because I just don't think y'all get this yet. I don't think you get it. Give to yourself first. Always. Do you hear me? Every guru, every wealthy person, every investor, everybody I know who's doing fine, know this concept. Pay yourself first. Do you hear me? And we often use the analogy of the airplane when the gas mask come down because the air pressure done went crazy. They always tell you to put that mask on yourself first. You can't help nobody on this plane if you cannot breathe. Pay yourself first. And I've always told y'all that. And I kept telling y'all that prior to the COVID coming, the pandemic coming, and then the pandemic came, and then many struggled and suffered and lost so much because they had nothing. Why? Because most of their monies were at the church. And the church don't even have the money because that money went to the bank. The church can't go back to the bank and ask for your money. The church can't go to the bank and say, we have some impoverished people in our church now. Can you help? No, the bank will not give you no money. Just pay that mortgage on time. That's your money. Why? Because you did not pay yourself first. Number two, give that money to someone in need. All right. These are the things that we even see in the system of tithing. There's 4 types of tithing, and one was called a festival tithe, in which God says, you eat your stuff. That's you sowed in the ground, and now you reap a good harvest, and God says, you eat it. That's yours. But they don't teach that part. Deuteronomy chapter, 12, it talks about, and after you've given the tithe after the 3rd year, he says you give that to the poor, the orphans, the strangers, the widows, so that they might eat. No one is teaching that. I think it's Deuteronomy 26 and 12. They're not teaching none of that. But whenever you walk in your church, it's all about you giving to that bucket so that your house might be doing fine. Rich and wealth is in my house. Give to that bucket. But they never tell you what to do with the 90% that's left. I never hear that gospel. You always want me to take my 10 and give to you, but you never tell me what to do with the 90. Why? Because it's lucrative not to tell you. You understand? Even Abraham, the way he tithed, he gave 10 to Melchizedek, but he gave the 90%, he gave that away to a pagan king. So when people say tithe after Abram, not after the law, I can't tithe after Abram. It is impossible to tithe like that. It is impossible, because if I tithe by Abraham's standards, I will not have any money to pay my own bills, because he gave all of it away. So y'all proved it with the Haiti fund that I sponsored last week. Y'all proved it. I gave Haiti $3,000 of your money Sunday. And you raise it in a couple days. $3,000. That was Sunday, which was yesterday. Today, I've got another $800 sitting in my account of y'all's money. Where'd that money come from? The CashApp keeps going off. I can't shut the CashApp off because the hearts of the people went over there to Haiti. Now Sunday I got to give this man another $800 or more. I would love to cap it off at $4,000, and it's gonna feed and pay the salaries of all those teachers over there. Why? Because y'all gave. And this morning I woke up to several testimonies. The people were telling me, Brother Jones, did you not realize the money I gave to Haiti came back into my account over a 24-hour period? I kept hearing that testimony today. People's money then came back to their accounts. You see how fast that can work? And a lot of your returns are going to come back over time. Why? Because God pays dividends. He says when you give to the poor, you're lending to me, the lending tree. God is the lending tree. And people are getting their monies back. I know I got mine back. I wasn't expecting it back. I don't even give loans out and expect it back. There's a lot of people who owe me money. They ask me, can I, and I'll pay you back. Listen, you know you can't afford to pay me back. Just take the money. I don't want it back. Now this person here, I know they can afford it. They're right in between a nice blessing, so I know they'll pay it back. But I still don't pick up the phone. Hey, brother, 3 days have passed. You told me you're gonna pay me back 2 days ago. I never do that, ever. I ain't worried about you paying me back. God's gonna give it to me somewhere else because He know you ain't gonna pay me back. But he knows that this person needs it. And I don't have any money, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't really have any money. But such that I have, I give. Why? Because I know God's going to take care of me. They don't teach this in your churches, and it's a sad situation. Sad. So let me help y'all. Let me get y'all out of this. Testimonies of the money being returned to their accounts. Nothing but God's dividends. Are these money grubbing pastors use the word of God the same way the pimp? They don't even know God, right? That's what God can do, Jacket Jackson. That's what God can do. No more church pyramid and Ponzi offerings. Ooh-wee. I ain't going to say nothing about just today. The Lord showed me how I will be getting it back in a few months. Literally, something I didn't see coming. I'm trying to tell y'all, these are the testimonies that's been coming in because people have been given to that fund. It's crazy. I see it, Jimmy Lynn. Thank you for the super chat. That is how you invest in the kingdom. Pay yourself first. You understand? And when you pay yourself first, you can pay your bills. You must render to Caesar what's Caesar's. If you owe, you need to pay. God never stopped you or what's the word? What is the word when you don't have to pay a tax? What do you call it? God never freed you of that debt. Is it exempt? He never exempt you from paying that debt. You still owe your light. You still owe your gas. You bought a car from somebody. You got to pay your car. No, man. You can't, because you're in the kingdom. You can't just think, oh, God is my father and He pay all my bills. No, you pay your bills and pay your taxes. And the church was known for paying their bills back in the day. The government loved the church because the church paid their bills. I'm not talking about the church building. That's a non-for-profit. I'm talking about individuals. They knew a Christian by how they paid their bills. I just don't understand y'all. Lord have mercy. The pastors are not going to like this teaching, especially when you telling us to pay ourselves. Yeah, kingdom finances. I catch you, ain't it? Oh, my God. God gave us wisdom, Jimmy Lynn. All right, so what do? Here's how you do it. Churches, or you pastors who are watching me right now, you bring in somebody to teach and train in finance. I say this every time I do a financial show. If you bring somebody in your church, the people will give more because they will receive more, because these financial investors will be in your church teaching these people how to either save their monies or invest their monies. And when they see that that the people are getting wealthier, then the people will then give to the church so they can pay off that crazy mortgage, and then money now will be left to give to the poor and the needy, and then your church can buy up property. Y'all can start buying up homes and apartments and land. That's what y'all should be doing. And then your people will have places to stay. And then others who are not members of your church, then they could move into these places, and you don't rob the people. If it's the church doing it, the Catholic Charities is one of the most giving organizations in the world, y'all. I worked with the Catholics, and I could not believe all of the people that they were helping. I interviewed JFK's nephew, Mr. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy Jr., on my show. He lives here in Chicago. It's a wealthy family, all right? And I met all of the Kennedy sons. I met Robert Kennedy's, John F. Kennedy's sons, and Robert Kennedy's sons. Well, I was with all of them. And I invited one to the show, and he came. He was running for governor here of Illinois, and we talked, and I almost was in tears, the stories he would tell me. They are born to give. Those who are born in the Catholic faith, they are literally born to give. It don't matter what they believe. It don't matter about them worshiping the Mary and talking to saints and all this stuff and the dead and all. No, it don't matter. It don't matter none of that when it comes to finances. Those people were born to give. That is one of the mandates of their faith. It's crazy. What does the Bible say about handling your finances? Man, I did a lot of financial shows. I'm still leading worship for my church virtually too since, all right? What April's saying? What's she saying? Ron, our church has been closed since March. Oh, y'all having a private conversation in class? I pay myself first, and I give to this foundation that helps single parents pay their rent. I do not give to the church anymore because I don't go no more. The Catholic Church do help the poor. Come on, Sherry, they do. God blesses us with a harvest, and we let people manipulate us out of the harvest. I teach when you get your harvest, save some, sow some, and spend some, and stop sowing into these profits and profit. I noticed your spelling. Can you imagine how strong the community would be? Moore says. Come on, y'all. Yeah. Their names are even in every hospital in town. And these hospitals are Catholic hospitals. You're going to be public enemy number one. All right. So let's figure this out. All right, Pitts, are you ready? Here it is. You cannot save your way to wealth. I need y'all to hear this. I'm giving y'all some tidbits on what to do. All right. Those of you who are believers, and another pandemic of a different bite could be coming. Or this one, because we're still in this one, can get much worse. And here are some of the things you should have been doing at the age of 20. There's a 30s plan. There's a 50s plan. Now, if you're in your 60s and you didn't plan, then you've got to try and figure out to double up your investment plan or your savings plan. But you should have started in your 20s. Okay, we all missed that. I started late too. All right. And so some of you who are in your 50s, you still have an opportunity. I have a plan for you. I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it on another show. All right. But you should have a plan. Now, you were taught that you save and you're doing fine. But no, you cannot save your way to wealth. You cannot. What you need to do is you need at least $2,000 of emergency money. All right. That's what the first thing you need to do. You need to be putting some money away in wherever you put your money. All right. Hopefully not under the mattress. $2,000 emergency. $2,000. All right. Why? Because something is going to break. Here's what you guys do not do. when you guys are buying your cars and they ask you for extended warranties, turn it down. Turn it down. Some of y'all got these warranties extended on your cars, these little commercials y'all keep seeing, okay? Turn it down. Much of that is a waste of your money. They are making in the car industry, what they do is not General Motors and Cadillac and all this, but I'm talking about when you go to the dealership, they don't make money on the cars. They make money. Can y'all tell me where they make the money? In the comment section. When you go there to buy a new car or used cars, they don't make the money on that. Where do they make the money? Come on, Car Shield and all that stuff. Huh? Where do they make their money? So what happens is y'all giving this money in an extended warranty. It is so much money that you're getting ready to be out of in extended warranties. But with the $2,000 that you have saved, that $2,000 go towards something that's going to break on your car. Your car is going to break. You can put it in a safe deposit box. Yes, absolutely. Because you consider $2,000 almost like a petty cash in the sense that you can put it in a safe deposit box. Some of you can keep it in your homes, but make sure it's in a safe. All right. Just in case of fire or something like that or theft, keep that in the safe because you need to get to it. It's liquidated money. The banks might be closed. Somebody might do a run on the bank, blah, blah, blah. So you need to get to that money right away. All right. So it's okay to keep that small amount in your house. But your car, as something in your house, is going to break. Guaranteed. And $2,000, 95% of the time, will take care of it. Do you understand? And when you have used that money to fix whatever had broken on your car, get back to putting that $2,000 back. You understand? I got some cash on hand. Come on. All right? You cannot save yourself into wealth. That is a misnomer. Your forefathers could. Your grandparents could. You cannot. It's impossible. You can't. Why? Because of the inflationary rate. You can't. You better hear me. You can't do it. There is a thing of you saving too much money. You never heard that, right? Wealthy people know that concept. You got too much money saved. All right? You got too much money in these insurance plans. When I say insurance, I'm not talking about home insurance, life insurance. I'm talking about these other, like car shield and stuff like that. All right. Next, you need less than 12 months saved. You need between 3 months and 12 months saved. That's separate from your $2,000. Your $2,000 is an emergency plan. Your $2,000 is an emergency plan. Number 2 is you need a livable plan. COVID came and shut down everything, and people were not working. So you leaned on the government. Well, what if the government didn't come through for you? So you need 3 to 12 months. Don't save more than 12 months. And you either going to be either aggressive by saying 12 months or less aggressive because you may not need that much money saved. So if you lose your job, you consider yourself 3 months out of a job until you can find another one. Now you got 3 months of a nest egg to pay all your bills. So if your bills are $4,000 a month, you need to save 4 times 4 times 4 minimum. So you spend 3 months looking for a job and your car note, your house note, your rent is all paid. This is how the wealthy do it. You understand? Good things about the virus is keeping the pastors from exchanging money. All right? All right, let's see. Now, if you're going to save, the only thing that I'm going to tell y'all is if you're going to save more than 12 months, You need to be saving for only 2 reasons. Only 2. Only 2. The first thing is a large purchase like a house. A house. If y'all are house shopping, then of course you need to have several $1,000s saved up. More than 12 months and all this. Okay, yes, fine. But the second thing that you need saved up, if you want to save up more than the 12 months, is that you're saving because you're trying to invest in a plan. All right. You want to put that money into the stock market. All right. So you want to pick a company or several, and you want to invest in those companies so that one day you are going to receive dividend payments and live off of the dividend payments. If you're into dividend stock. If not, then you invest into ETFs, okay? You can get involved in the S&P 500, and you take $10,000 and you spread it out throughout the S&P 500, and now you are owner of all these companies spread out. So if you get a lot of money and you want a decent return on your investment every year over a long period of time, the stock market will never go away. It will never go away. It is the most soundest thing you could do with your money, even though there might be a crash. White folks are in this, y'all. White folks don't let stuff. White folks in this stuff. Okay? Even though it crash. But crash, the only way, if you crash, it got to go back up. What go down got to go up in the stock market. Especially with the S&P 500. All right. Those are the exceptions to the rule. All right. If you're saving too much money, it's being diluted by inflation. So what do? If you have a stack of money, put that thing in an online bank account. You are not making any money in a brick and mortar bank. They're not paying you anything. They're at least paying you 0.0001%, okay, something. So your money is still safe there, and it is backed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So you at least are gonna get your two. I don't know how many. I don't have too many friends who's got $250,000 in the bank. All right, so don't worry, the FDIC will take care of it. All right, but if you want to make a little more interest on your money, put it in an online bank. They are very safe. They are backed by the FDIC as well. They are very safe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why can they pay you more than the brick and mortar bank? Because they have no overhead. There's no building. It's just all online. You hear me? Or you're saving for a large, yes. In Texas, the pastors had a financial expert come speak to you. I love that. I'm going to high five that pastor. Yes. That's good. Yeah, Community Reinvestment Act. Karen Hicks is giving y'all some info here. Come on. Y'all better take heed to this. And many of you were messed up because you went after that PPP loan, and then now some of y'all in jail for it. Some of y'all in jail. All right, what else you saying, Higgs? It's time to learn the truth value of this thing called currency. Come on. Yeah, there you go. It flows. That's it. That's it, girl. That's it. Now, here's the next thing you need to do. Pay down your debt. I cannot understand it for the life of me. Some of you who got a whole bunch of credit cards, but you got a lot of money in your bank. And your credit card, you are making your credit card company extremely wealthy. I cannot understand it to save my life. It was the question was asked the person a question. All right. Can you earn an 8% return on your money? And the people were like, no, I don't know anybody who's making an 8% return on your money. Okay, you probably don't know. But if you don't think so, your credit card is making upwards of 20% return on you. You telling me you can't make 8% return on your money a year, but you're paying out 15, 18, and 20 and 25% to the credit card company and your car note. This is poor mentality. You gotta have stuff. And so what y'all have turned into are consumers and not producers. You are consumers. And you got a credit report of 520. And you got money. When the government finally gave me a stimulus check, I took that check and put it back in investment accounts. That stimulus check that came a long time ago, y'all, is still in my account. I never touched it. Why? That was extra money. And I put that in the emergency fund. The government gave me an emergency fund, and I put it right in where I did not go shopping. You're consumers. How are you the first one in line when a TV drop or the iPhone drop or an Air Nike dropper? How are you the first one in line? And then you go to church and then they take your money. You want to be impoverished. And who's part responsible for this? The grammar school. The grammar school taught us to be consumers and not producers. The grammar schools. So what do the rich do? The rich people employ their money. You put your money to work. Put your money to work. Your money's supposed to be a slave to you. Do y'all hear me? Your money is your slave. And when you get it, you say, now money, you obey me. And what I tell you to do, you do it. Now go out there and make me some more of you. Before I go to bed every night, I scratch my head to say and wonder, did I make any money today? How much did I make today? People, I made a joke today. I told somebody, they said, what you gonna do on for your holiday? I said, holidays are for poor people. Yeah, the holidays are for poor people. We had a good laugh, but I was kind of serious. Yeah, that's for poor people. What you gonna do today? Oh, I'm working. I'm working today. I ain't got time to take off. The holidays for poor people. Why? Because I don't need a holiday to rest and do. No, I know how to get around. I get to that resting part. Every now and then I'll stop what I'm doing here in the office. I go upstairs and play with my children. I took my daughter to Pullman Park, the new park. I'm going to show y'all the Pullman Park eventually. They opened and we had a great time there for a couple hours just enjoying the festivities and enjoying my daughter and my grandson. Oh, that was my holiday just for a couple hours. Holidays are for poor people. For poor people. All of my wealthy friends say the same thing. No, we don't take holidays. We don't know what that is. I work on Sundays, y'all. Saturday is the Sabbath. Y'all made Sunday the Sabbath. I don't know which one of y'all did that. No, I work. I like working. And at the end of the day, I say, did I make any money today? How much money did I make today? That don't mean that the money's in my account. That means, what did I do today to where that money is going to come to me tomorrow, the next day, a week from now, a month from now? What did I put in place? I don't think y'all understand what I'm saying here. What did you do today to build wealth? Even though you won't see that wealth, like Karen Key said, even though you won't see that wealth to maybe 6 months down the road, what did you do today to get it? Steph, I've been reading your comments. You and I need to take this on the road. We need to take this on the road. What did you do today? All right? So it's important, y'all, that y'all see this. It's important, and again, I like what Karen Hicks is saying about currency. It's important. I see you, Cornell Phillips. Thank you for the Cash App. All right. Now here's what the script. Here's what I want to know what the Bible says about religion. Okay, because religion, I believe, is one of the major causes of poverty in America and in y'all's houses. Okay. Did you mean IRA, Spencer? Did you mean IRA? Yes. I didn't do my IRA show yet. I'm getting ready to do the IRA show, Spencer. Hold on. All right. Because this week I want to do some financial shows this week, okay? Starting today, and so come back tomorrow. All right. I want to do my IRA show. All right. So keep coming back here. You've been coming here for a long time. All right. And I'm gonna tell you some things that you probably need to do. Some of you who are self-employed like myself, there are things that you can do that you should be doing that you're not working anymore. You might be retired, what have you. And there's still some things you can do with your 401k, with a 401k, with the IRA, with the Roth IRA. Very important. Those two things together. Okay. These are some things that you should be implementing. Again, you baby boomer, you Generation X's. All right. You need to really fill your head with this financial information because your children is depending on you, because that next generation, they say, are becoming the poorest. Do y'all realize the millennials are in trouble? They are becoming the poorest. They're in trouble. And that money that they take out of your check every year, every paycheck until you turn 65 or whatever, that money ain't gonna be there when your children get a certain age. It won't be there. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. All right. So religion, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is the belief in and worship of gods or any such system of belief and worship. And the Bible refers to religion in several places. Recalling his time as a Pharisee, Paul relates how he belonged to the strictest sect of a religion. Acts 26:5. Festus called Judaism a religion. Acts 25:19. God defines true religion this way, though. Y'all already know what true religion is, don't you? True religion. Religion that God, our Father, accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans, which y'all did to Haiti, and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world, which is why you're in poverty today. That's James 1:27. In other words, the system of worshiping God is not a matter of observing rituals or rites. Rather, it involves practical help for those in need and living a poor life separated from the world. All right. One type of religion is comprised of that which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world, that is, rather than on Christ. Colossians 2:8. And that's why when y'all go to your churches, it's more religion or religiosity than it is a spiritual buildups. So they have implemented many of the catchphrases. They have brought in a lot of worldly influences into your churches, okay? And y'all doing rituals, and it's become a works-based religion. They're telling you have to do something in order for God to bless you financially. You have to do all of these things spiritually, and then y'all go home in an impoverished situation, and you wonder, when is it coming? When is it coming? We have a problem. We have a problem, y'all. Another type of religion relies on tradition, ceremony, and rule keeping to curry favor with God. The scribes and Pharisees in the Bible are examples of this form of religion. Jesus said they like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at the banquets. And you need to be called a chief apostle and a master prophet. No more apostle, no more prophet. It's got to be chief and master and suffragan and African and all these other bishops and all these bigger titles. You gotta get bigger and bigger and higher, and that gives you, I don't know, that builds up your, I don't know, your momentum or something. You need it because on the job, your pastor name is Bob, Mike, Rod on the job. But when he comes to church and he puts on that priestly robe, now he's master prophet, chief apostle, the greatest of them all, most holy elder. Why? He's not respected on his job. Come here, boy. Yes, sir. Until he get to the church. And y'all put him in this seat right here. And you put a robe on them. And some of them wear those funny hats. I'm not even talking about Catholic. And then he's got a nurse that comes and gives him whatever he needs. He's got a pastor's aide that gives him whatever he needs. And he's got a deacon board and a trustee board. And he's got all these folk who even carry his briefcase. I don't even know y'all even have briefcases today, okay? He's got all those things. He is royally taken care of in the church. And when he go home, that's why he keep y'all in church all day. He try to keep y'all there as long as he can, because if he does that, then it builds that thing up in him. Because he hate Monday because he got to go to work. And when he punched that clock, Bob, pick up that mess. Somebody messed in the toilet and it overflowed. Can you clean that up? Yes, sir, I'll do it. Am I in trouble? Am I in trouble? Huh? Can y'all protect me? I'm going to need your protection. Can y'all? These men will be punished most severely. Luke 20. Their religion was outward and heavily influenced by their tradition, rather than aid the widows, as James 1:27 commands. The Pharisees robbed them like beautiful tombs. They only appeared clean and pure, but inside they were corrupt. And this is why Jesus went into the temple and beat the money changers. And if he was alive on the earth today, he'd be in our churches every Sunday beating the money changers. Much of what we consider to be religion, church on Sunday, reciting a prayer, lighting a candle, are human traditions that give the appearance of devotion, but ultimately have little to do with the soul of the participant. In fact, 2 Timothy 3, we are warned that people can have a form of godliness without their religious activity making any meaningful difference in their lives. Y'all just going through the motions at church. Despite their external ceremonies, they remain unloving, unthankful, uncontrolled, and unrepentant. The scriptural instruction is, have nothing to do with such people. Jesus described those who were undoubtedly religious in Matthew chapter 7:21. Yet his final word to them is, I never know or never knew you. Away from me, you evil doers. I don't know who you are. Lastly, James 1:27 says, true religion in God's eyes makes a difference in whom we are and what we do. It is religion based on relationship. Jesus said, if you love me, do something. Keep my commandment. Obedience is the proof of love. We love God because he loved us first. 1 John 4:19. And our love leads us to action. It is the fulfillment of the law. Romans 13:10. This religion of relationship is not based on what we do for God. It is based on what he has done for us. We are not trusting in our performance, but in a person by the name of Jesus, the Christ. So y'all are doing a works-based religion thinking that you are going to get into a higher heaven because you're doing all these rituals in your church. But no, God already like you. You already belong to the Lord. While you were yet in sin and nasty and dirty and filthy rags, he commended his love for you. He died for you. He like you already. He so loved the whole world that he gave his son for it. So you're already in, like Flynn. You understand? So because you're already in, you don't have to do anything to stay in, but you should be doing stuff because you are in. I don't think y'all understand this. Because you're a part of a royal family, royal people like the Catholics and what I brought up do stuff because it has been embedded in them from birth to give to the poor. Now, unfortunately, the Catholic believe that it's more works based, so a lot of them do that because of works based. But it should be rooted and grounded in you because you're already wealthy in the household of faith in God's kingdom. So because you're in the house, you should be doing stuff for other people so that they could be a part of the house. You don't get baptized in water so that you can be saved. You're saved. So you do an outward thing by getting baptized because you already. Are y'all understanding this? Y'all understand this? It's in me to do. Come on, Pastor Jerome. Because I do this, and out of the heart, out of the mouth, out of the issues of the heart and the vicissitudes and all these things come out of a man. It is not what's go in the man that defiles him, it's what go out into the drought. It's what go out of the man that tells you about the man. It's the spirit of the man that leads and tells you what's going on in the man. God is a spirit. In order to worship him, you have to worship him in spirit and in truth. And the scripture says in order to know God, you have to know the spirit of God. So in order to know Michelle Carter, you got to kind of know the spirit of her. And it exudes out of you. Faith without works. What? So the works that you see people do is based off of the faith that's already in them because they know without faith it's impossible to please the Lord. So I do stuff for people because I'm already in. I'm not doing it to get in. Oh my God, today. And this is why people are fighting. They're pushing James against the Apostle Paul because Paul talked about justification by faith alone. And James said, show me your faith and I'll show you some works. They weren't fighting against each other. They were co-signing. Y'all, I got to quit this, man. I got to quit this because this thing is too good. It's getting too good. And if you learned anything, you can go ahead and support the ministry because y'all already know where my money be going. y'all already know where my money go. Jesus, God himself through Jesus, he said that I would that none perish. None. God don't want anybody to perish, not one. I would that none be poor. I wish that none be poor. Unfortunately, Jesus said something about the poor. Can y'all tell me what Jesus said about the poor? Even though we wish that none be poor, what did he say about the poor? I want to see which one of y'all is really smart. Huh? What did he say? Satan loves division. He started that work in heaven and continues today. Woo-wee. What is your Cash App? Karen Hicks is right there on the wall there. Thank you, Timothy Clark. You might be a millennial, but yours came in first. He said the poor will be with you always. And so because the poor will be with you always, you need to look after them. The poor is your responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? The poor is your responsibility. Yours. Yours. So when you get paid, pay yourself first. Understand? Pull out your expenses for your house, not the church. These pastors are married to the church. They somehow propose to God's church. That church belonged to Jesus. The church is the bride for Jesus. But these pastors married somebody else's bride. And they're committing adultery. So they married themselves to the church. So let the pastors have that responsibility. But you, when you get your check, you pull some money out of that for yourself and feed your family and pay your bills. You understand? And what's left, you find somebody poor. Chase them down. Like Bugs Bunny and what's that? Roadrunner. Chase them down. And they just might be in your neighborhood. They might be in your church. Or they might be in your house. But they're somewhere. Because the poor will be with you always. April, the other ways to give, PayPal, Sirwalterj. It's if you're on YouTube, you're on YouTube. It's in the description. It's in all of my video descriptions. The PayPal and the Zelle. All that stuff should be in the description. So listen, as I'm closing here, I was trying to tell y'all about Zally Web yesterday, but the computer was shutting down. It just couldn't take it. Oh, someone else is asking. Okay, yeah. Thank you, April, because I know you have my information. April, send me an email. Thank you, Yvonne. Hey, Joan. Yvonne finally reached out. Joan, Yvonne finally reached out. All right. I emailed her back. Yvonne, check your email. April Echo, send me an email. I want to talk to you. Send me an email. Okay. You should know it by now too. giftedfriends1@gmail.com. I was telling y'all about our dear brother Zally Webb, who commented on the show a few days ago. I think I was talking about Kojic versus I don't know. I don't remember. But I was fussing and arguing. I put okay. All right. He commented, and a couple of days later, the Lord took him home. Zally Webb was a good friend of mine for many years. He was a pastor of a church in Evanston, Illinois, and I loved him dearly like a big brother. He served as one of the oldest serving pastors in the entire city of Evanston, a town, if you want to call it a city. All right. My pastor was the longest serving, and I think Pastor Webb might have been the second or third longest serving pastor. All right. He formed the Evanston Sing Choir, and I have a 7-minute video, and I wanted to take the rest of my time because y'all know I can go for 2 hours straight, but I'm going to stop. And if you have 7 minutes, I want you to hear his own words where he formed the choir so that he can help. This man was always helping. He was adopting orphans. Y'all, this is why I have a heart for orphans. This man spent his entire life adopting orphans, and he brought them into his home. Understand? And he raised them. And so I'm hoping that the not only his memory continue, but his work continue in Evanston. So he formed the Evanston Sing Choir, and he asked me to be the director of the choir for a few years, and I was, and so I have a lot of video of that. I've never really put up the video yet, but I'll show you some samples there, and you'll hear him in his own words. So let's pray for the Webb family and all those children he has adopted. All right, that their hearts and minds might be comforted, and that we sing the legacy of this man, especially up north. Okay, I appreciate it. Many of you, about 200 of y'all are here, and I want to thank y'all for coming by this old man's show. Y'all know I ain't scared of nothing. I see a lot of people are inboxing me Larry Reed, so he must have done something really crazy. So I'll see what's going on over there as I try to eat some dinner tonight. Take care of yourselves, all right? And we'll see y'all again tomorrow, and we'll talk more about finances for the rest of the week, and see if we could get y'all up and going, okay? Yes, it's up on the screen, bottom right. Oh, okay. Y'all trying to help somebody find the Cash App that's so big. All right, y'all. I got to go. Blessings to you. Thank you, clock keeper. See, I did it in 1:30. I did it in 1 hour and 30 minutes. I broke a record. Okay, no, I didn't. Take care of yourselves. One more time. Come here. Who is well? Lord. Lord, do it.
To deal with the issue that the black churches weren't doing anything, and there was crime going on, and so Evanston On It started as a mechanism to try to bring churches together, people together, especially in the Fifth and the Second War. And so I thought that if we could get the choirs from the different churches to come together and produce a concert, that the money we could give to the city for the summer youth program. And so far, we've given about $35,000 to the city for the summer youth program. With Evanston Sings, my dream was one day to really pack out Evanston Township, and that we could really give a good donation to the summer youth program, because I figured kids hanging around during the summer, they stand on the street corners, they're doing anything. But a lot of kids use the money to pay for getting ready to go back to school, and their families, families are not working, and maybe just the mom's working, stuff like that. It was an effort to try to help our community. It's a self-help program.
So now you asked a very good question. Is it just, do you just want black people to show up? No, I want people from all races to show up so they can see and hear the history of not just black churches, but American music. You understand? So that's pretty much my job, is to organize the music, make sure the vocals are fine. We select the songs, and we bring in the right musicians that fit, but the musicians are mostly those are part of the same choir that you see. It's their musicians that we try to use, because it's Evanston Sing. So even though I live in Chicago, I'm a member here in Evanston, and so I feel like
connected.
I'm connected.
Our communities are so separate. We live so separately in Evanston.
I think music draws everybody. It soothes savage beasts, as someone wonderfully said. And I went to a wedding for a Bahamian couple. Well, actually, the man was Bahamian and the wife was Japanese. And at the end of the reception, this band came in. They called Junkanoo, and the Junkanoo are very popular. It would be like Mardi Gras, the Mardi Gras bands, okay? And they came in there, and in this reception area was white, Japanese, Bahamian, Jamaican, of course, African American, and the room was a melting pot, and people were sitting at separate tables until the band came in. And when the band came in, everybody who was sitting at separate tables joined each other on the floor, and rich and poor were dancing together.
I think it's important, and I guess I'm old school, but I think it's important even to remind our community of our roots in the music and the styles. They had to deal with a time when Mahalia, her aunts belonged to the church I grew up in, Alice and Hannah, but Mahalia had to teach folks don't cheat her. And she was only charging a 25 cents to sing. So what she would do, she would send a counter out and count how many people come in. And when the producers came, so sorry, Miss Jackson, we didn't get the number. And then she would develop a laryngitis. And then when they came up with her money, she said, "Lord works in mysterious ways." So there's a lot of history in that. These young people, if we don't repeat that history and tell them whether they want to hear it now, at least they have it in the back of their minds. We've been able to bless the city so that they can in turn bless young people. That's what we're all about. Yes. I got a call from a young man, and he said, a lot of guys that don't go to church still call me pastor. So he called me and said, "Pastor," he said, "I can't take it no more. I can't take it anymore." I said, "What's up, Doc?" He said his son was shot 11 times. But about a year ago, he had another son, and his mother was a member of Bethany. But we had the funeral here. He said, "I can't lose any more sons." He said, I can't guarantee what they were doing, but I still have to live with the fact I got other children." That's right. So he said, "I'm packing up." He said, "I'm getting out of here." That's why I'm so grateful for you, for some young people that you may never know. Some of the kids we know, but some of the young people we will never know. But what we're trying to do is make a difference in their lives. And they all... What a glorious thing!
Swells, deep crescendos, and all the wonderful stuff we learned. All right?
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.